Last week on the breakdown, we broke down a hand of the notorious William Kassouf of England, the guy who would talk forever. He didn't really talk that much in this hand, but he played a really cool pot against Kwan Lau. If you haven't seen that breakdown yet, click up here, then come right back.
Remember, 9 high like a boss.
Yeah.
It was a big spot for him. He won the pot. Let's hear what you people had to say, though.
Before that, I want to say one other thing, though.
Uh-oh.
We had 2 breakdowns last week because we had another hand that was so suggested we just had to do it. That was the James Opes Michael Ruan straight flush full house hand. If you want to hear the comments from that, check out our podcast. We are the breakdown.
That's a great point. And before that, I want to say another thing.
Oh, my goodness.
We're live tweeting the main event.
Oh,
as
yeah.
it happens on the final table. So starting Sunday night, get your Twitter machines going. We're going to be live tweeting everything that happens. Feel free to send your questions and comments.
Of course, at 2 Poker Guys.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the comments.
Finally.
Tim J says, Ace-King is a better call on the river than Jack-Jack for Lau, which you guys didn't mention. This is because it blocks both Ace-Queen and Ace-Ace, although very thin, which are in Kassouf's bet range. Jack-Jack has no blockers, and Kassouf isn't betting ace-high on the river, which means Jacks and Ace-King have the same relative hand strength.
Disagree.
Go on.
I think I got to disagree here.
I'm not sure if I do, so go ahead.
I think that Kassouf certainly will bet ace-high sometimes. I think Kassouf's
I
the type of guy who's going to try to get Lau off a chop a lot of the time.
Yeah, I absolutely. We actually saw that in the most recent World Series hand, or the most episodes where he had the 5 diamonds were on the board and he bet to try and get Gordon Vayo to fold.
Yeah.
Turns out Vayo had the jack-high flush and wasn't going anywhere. So I actually agree with you on that part. However, I think it is an interesting point that Ace-King does block some things and Jacks doesn't. And so maybe we should consider calling with Ace-King a little bit more of the time.
Right, I guess, but if we're going to go with combinatorics here, there are 6 combos of Jacks, right?
Yeah.
And the things we're talking about blocking are aces and ace-queen.
Yeah.
There's more than 6 combos of those combined, even though we have ace-king.
Well, there's also 2 queens on the board.
Right, so there's
only
7 combos.
I don't know.
Yeah, so there's one more combo.
I assume the math is right. The question is, I agree with you. Sometimes Kassouf may be betting ace-high because it really looks like Lau has exactly what he has, right?
It does.
Like, so often he's going to show up with ace-king.
I mean, I don't disagree with this comment in entirety. I just think it's a bit nitpicky to pick one of those 2 hands as a better bluff catcher. I think Jacks probably is a better bluff catcher just because we can beat the ace-highs.
Yeah.
And we're never, ever, ever, ever going to win with the ace-high, we think, because we don't expect Kassouf to have 2 9s here.
Another reason to at least strongly consider folding ace-king here is it's probably the bottom of our actual checking range, right? Like if we're Lau and we have 2 7s somehow, and we called on the flop, I guess we would never call on the flop.
No, we're not going to call on the flop.
So this is just the worst hand we can have here. Actually, maybe that's a reason to bluff
like
it.
we concluded last week, Lau played this hand entirely pretty standard, and we like the fold. We think it makes sense.
Osif Kincaid says, none of the hands that Kassouf are targeting with his bluff are supposed to fold. Provided that Lau bets a queen, ace-king is the top of his checking range. If he folds that, he folds everything. I don't know if I agree with that, by the way.
No, I don't think ace-king's the top of his checking range.
I mean, he could have jacks.
He could have
very reasonably.
kings even.
He could have kings, he could have jacks, he could have a 10.
Yeah.
But anyway, he runs into problems when he doesn't have many hands that are worse than ace-king in his range, which is likely the case here. And so he sometimes has to call and sometimes fold, which is always a stupid situation.
Well, I don't like being in the situation that Lau is in this spot for sure. I agree. I think folding makes sense because I disagree that this is the top of his checking range. I think it's near the bottom of his checking range, in fact.
You think ace-king is the bottom of his checking range?
Of Lau's checking range?
It's sort of, I agree with that.
Yes,
actually.
it is.
Right, it is, right. Okay, so that's a good reason to fold.
Yeah.
Actually. Okay, good point. Finally, Jack Norman says, Occam's razor, then quotes, do what seems sensible, end quote. Then he says, you clearly haven't read too much Occam. The only way his
read any Occam,
well,
sorry.
there you go. The only way his so-called razor, formerly the idea that you should not posit the existence of unnecessary metaphysical principles, is relevant here is if Kassouf or Lau have some special metaphysical knowledge that lets them know what the other player has. We got another one of these kinds of comments.
That's pretty cool. I like that comment.
I like that comment too.
We use Occam's razor sometimes, and what we mean by that is the simplest answer is the best answer, and that may be colloquial in definition. I certainly have not read Occam.
Let me be clear. Occam's razor is a heuristic technique used by science everywhere, and absolutely it can be used this way commonly. And to pretend somehow that it's got to be taken literally is a little bit insane. Right. Come on, Jack Norman.
This guy must be a constitutional literalist.
You know, maybe he is.
Yeah,
maybe
I think
is.
so, because as science adapts, so do we as the purveyors of science. And on the breakdown, science is our main goal.
You must get really upset when people say the word literally incorrectly, because I get upset about this, and this doesn't bother me at all, this Occam's razor thing. You must really get upset.
Hey, I feel you there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro.
But Occam, you go away.
All right, we're out.